So today I'm going to show you passive range hold for knee flexion. Now I do have an ankle weight on today, but you would obviously start these without any kind of weight at all as a beginner if you haven't done these before. And then you would progress that up by either closing that knee flexion angle or you would add an ankle weight. So what we're going to do is, I've just got my two sticks here for a bit of balance, but also to add a bit of a radiation through into the sticks. You don't have to use these if your balance is quite good anyway, but I do always use these with my clients as well. A half lunge position, okay? Now, my working leg is the leg behind. I want to make sure that my front leg isn't too close, so when I go to hold, the heel of my front foot doesn't come off the floor, so a nice forward kind of lunge position. I do have a bit of support under this knee because it can be quite sore if you don't have anything under here, so I've got a knee pad here, but you can use a couple of towels or a rolled up yoga mat or something. And I've just got a kettlebell here that I've placed behind because I'm going to start my hold. I'm just going to rest the top of my foot on the top of the kettlebell here. Okay, now if your knee flexion isn't that good or you're a beginner and you find these quite hard, you might get like a little bit crampy, you would start these from the floor and then gradually start to elevate the foot and close this gap of knee flexion here, okay? So knee flexion is the ability to bring your heel as close to your bottom as possible. Okay, so that is actively, and then we have passively where I use assistance. So if I can passively lift my foot here and then I let go and it goes all the way back here, I need to close that gap between passive and active range, and I would do this by doing passive range holds. Okay, so I'm just going to start by using the kettlebell here. You're going to tuck your pelvis under. Make sure that forward foot is quite far forward, and I'm going to lean forward to lift my foot up as high as I can, and then I'm going to shift back to this kind of neutral position, pelvis tucked, and I'm going to try my hardest to hold that heel as close to my bum for as long as I can. So that could be anything between 10 seconds to 60 seconds, and then you might start to feel a little bit of cramping there. You can lean forward a little bit to ease that off, okay? And then once your time is over, you can release the foot down. So I can shift my pad forward to that kettlebell, brings me a lot closer into my knee flexion position. Or when I find these quite easy, I can use something a lot higher, like this weight bench here, and that brings me into a lot closer end range of knee flexion. It's going to be a lot harder here. So as you start to progress, you start to bring that foot closer to your bottom and do your passive range holds from here. So you see my foot's only off a tiny bit. I do have to lean forward a little bit to get that off, but just make sure that when you lean forward that you don't leave your bottom behind, that it's tucked and you travel your whole body forward in order to get that off. So you only want a tiny lift with your passive range hold, ideally no more than kind of 2 to 4 inches. If it's too much of a lift, you need to bring that foot up higher, so you've only got a small amount of lift off with that passive range hold. So that's your passive range hold for knee flexion.